After 8 long years, Google finally decided to bring the Pixel devices officially to the Malaysian market. And here it is, the Google Pixel 9. It is my first foray into the world of Pixel devices. Yes, I have never used a Pixel device until now. After spending the past week using this phone and learning what makes a Pixel device special, here is our full review of the Google Pixel 9. Please do like and subscribe because that will really help us out a lot. And let's just begin because this video is gonna be really long. I'm just gonna timestamp everything down below here so you can skip to whichever segment that tickles your fancy. So right now, let's talk about the design first. The Pixel 9 uses a glossy glass back and the phone looks and feels very nice to the touch. It's very similar to the shape of the Galaxy S24 or S24 Plus, but the corner curves radius is slightly larger here and it is also a tad bit thicker. The frame also curves to the back and the front of the phone as well. It feels really nice to hold and I do have a soft spot for these kind of small phones that I can use with one hand, so that's my personal preference. Though I kinda keep pressing the volume buttons instead of the power button because the location of these two buttons are swapped compared to all of the other smartphones that I have used. It will definitely need some time to get used to this button placement. The new camera bump design is also somewhat of a conversation starter. Some will say that this new design looks better, but some will say the Pixel 8's camera bump is better. I'm totally indifferent because I think they both just looks very unique and the phone doesn't rock when we place it on the table. So that's a plus point. Speaking of the camera bumps, now let's talk about it. While the specs of the cameras might not be the latest and greatest, Google really knows what they're doing here. The Google Pixel 9 doesn't even have a telephoto camera, and that is actually one of the main differences between the Pixel 9 and the Pro variants. Now, the main camera is honestly gonna be just amazing. It captures with HDR, but the pictures doesn't look fake because some other phones that I've tested, they have this kind of strange uncanny valley look because of the HDR processing. The outdoor shots and indoor shots, they all look amazing here. The color and exposure are perfectly balanced, as all things should be, and even the 2x digital zoom shots still look good. Even dimly lit shots like this look fantastic as well. For night shots though, I tried two different modes. One with the basic photo mode and then another one with the night sight mode turned on. From what we can see here, the dynamic range is very different as the signboard brightness are equalized on night sight mode but not on the photo mode. The building and the sky are also brighter when we turn on night sight mode. As for the ultra-wide angle camera, this is also fantastic on this phone, and what surprised me though is that this ultra-wide angle camera has an equivalent of 12mm of focal length, and that means it is wider than most ultra-wide cameras in the market right now. The colors and exposure for the ultra-wide angle camera are consistent with the main camera, though it does have to make some slight changes because of the wider field of view and to account for more things within that scene. As for the night shots, I did pretty much the same thing as well. I took a picture with standard photo mode and also another one with night sight mode. And to my surprise, it did brighten up the building, which looks much nicer in my opinion. But the signboard is still overexposed in the night sight mode, so there is one discrepancy there. The ultra-wide angle camera also has autofocus and it takes macro shots as well, and it actually works really well. You can disable this feature if you want to within the camera settings menu. As a quick mention, that selfie camera is vastly different from the Pixel 9 Pro and the Pro XL, but it still takes great selfies nonetheless. Once again, it is impressive and it also has an auto-focusing lens as well, making all of your selfies as sharp as possible. Oh, if the phone starts vibrating and talking, then don't worry, this is actually one of the features available here called guided frame, whereby it detects whatever is in front of the phone and then tells you where's the best position that you should put your phone and to get the best shot, and then it will automatically take the picture for us. It's kind of a neat feature, but it did startle me at first when it started talking. Now these are just the point and shoot pictures. Pixel phones have a lot more features built in the Photos app, and this is where we'll have to talk about some of the AI features available on this phone. First off, since I took this phone to a close friend's wedding, I took a lot of photos. A group photo like this has a lot of people and it is very difficult to get a shot with everyone looking their most pristine poses with their best facial expression. So I asked the photographer, hey, please take this phone and start just spamming the shutter button. Now I have a lot of slightly different pictures and that's actually a good thing. I can just choose the one picture, head into the edit menu, find the tools button, hit the best take option, and then it will look for all of the similar photos and choose the best face for each person in that picture. I can also manually choose the face that I should use for that particular person and then just save the picture and it's done. I got a perfect group photo. This feature is just amazing. The next feature that I like is the Add Me feature. Now, it seems to have a bit of a learning curve. First, I take their picture, then I hand over the phone to one of them and they take the picture of me. Then the Pixel 9 will interlace both pictures together and make it as though we are all in the same picture together. This picture does look a bit awkward because they kind of look like cardboard standees, and that is actually because we just don't know where to stand in the shot. If we can do it properly, then it actually looks a lot more convincing than what we have right here. There are quite a lot of camera modes available here, but I think the camera UI can be further improved, like the option to customize which camera mode goes where, or just having a full list of camera modes displayed in one menu. That would be much more convenient than just scrolling side to side to select all of the modes. Now, this phone can also capture 4K 60fps on both the main and ultra-wide-angle cameras and switch between them while filming as well. That is great, and I shot this night video with the main camera at 4K 60fps and the stabilization is really good. It's a combination of OIS and EIS, and that is why it has some jittering of all the lights and whatnot, but overall it looks really good. The exposure, the colors, and overall noise level is very well done here. But there are more AI features built into the software. For example, the Pixel Screenshot is an amazing feature to have. It's kind of like the Windows 11 recall feature where it detects all of the words within each of the screenshots and then we can just enter the keyword and search for them. It's handy to have since I do take a lot of screenshots of random things. We also have a new weather app here that has an AI summary of what's going to happen on that day. It's kind of neat actually. We also have an image generator here called Pixel Studio that works surprisingly well. I mean, I can't describe it to you, so let me just show you how it works. Of course, we also have Gemini here as well, which is, well, I think you're pretty familiar with it right now. All of these features are packed into the Pixel UI on top of Android 14. Google said that the Pixel 9 series will have 7 generations of Android OS upgrades and 7 years of security patches, and the upgrade to Android 15 is not counted as a part of that 7th generation of Android OS upgrade policy. So, by theory, if my calculation and what I heard is correct, we should be getting up to Android 22 for the Pixel 9 series. Then comes the biggest controversial of all, Google's choice to use the Tensor chipset, their custom designed chip. I know many of you are going to say that the new Tensor G4 sucks, but I disagree. The Pixel 9 is the smoothest phone that I've used so far, and I think their chip here is just widely misunderstood. Firstly, let's take a look at our gaming test. Yes, it did stutter a lot when we were playing Genshin Impact, but for whatever reason, other games like COD Mobile, COD Warzone, PUBG Mobile, and most surprising of all is Wuthering Waves ran very well on this phone. I was actually surprised to see Wuthering Waves running so well because that game is just not that optimized on other phones. But do note that Pixel devices are not advertised for gaming at all, not on their website, not on their keynote. You can watch our gaming test video at the top right corner there. We don't use benchmark apps because those scores from a benchmark app they don't really mean much. And secondly, this phone is cool to the touch even while playing Wuthering Waves at advanced graphical preset at 60fps. That is because the thermal limit of the Pixel 9 is only at around 45 degrees Celsius, and that is actually very low. Comparing it to other similarly sized phones like the Galaxy S24 or the Xiaomi 14, those phones have a thermal limit of 47 degrees Celsius. That extra 2 degrees Celsius will allow the phone to get better benchmark scores, but they are not sustainable. That's why we don't rely on benchmarks and we just do gaming tests, because that is technically how people use their phones, right? No one buy a phone and just run benchmarks 24/7. So yeah, if you want to do benchmarks, go on ahead. It's just not representing how people use their phones. And the third point about the Tensor G4 chip is that this chip is made for AI. Not just any basic AI tasks that we tell it to do on demand, but it constantly does some sort of processing in the background. Most commonly is that when I take a picture, you can see this processing icon at the bottom left corner. When I take a screenshot though, the Pixel Screenshot app analyzes through that particular screenshot that I just took. And even though it needs to do so much background processing, we'll have to talk about the efficiency now, because if it does so many things in the background, then the battery life should be bad, right? Well, that is where the Tensor G4 is surprising. With that 4700 mAh battery in the Pixel 9, it can actually last for 15 hours in our standardized battery life test, locked at 120 Hz. That's amazing, and that is why I said that the Tensor G4 is just misunderstood. It's made with a purpose, and Google optimized it for that purpose really well. As for the charging speed, the Google Pixel 9 can support up to 45 watts of USB PD charging standard, and it can charge from 15% to completion in about 80-ish minutes. As far as I know, while the Pixel 9 supports up to 45 watts via USB PD, it doesn't actually take in the full 45 watts. It's similar to the Samsung phones for what I know. Okay, we'll have to talk about the screen as well. The Pixel 9 has a 6.3-inch Actua display with 2424 by 1080 pixels in resolution and up to 120 Hz refresh rate. While the specs sound boring, this phone has a maximum brightness of nearly 2100 nits brightness. This is the absolute brightest screen that I have tested so far. As for the color accuracy, there are two different color modes to choose from, either adaptive or natural. They don't have any detailed description of what they do, but even by just looking at the screen, the dark background changed a lot. To get a better idea about the differences, I just decided to test both of them. The adaptive color mode can reach nearly 100% of sRGB and 78.19 of DCI-P3 color gamuts. As for the natural color mode, it has a lower coverage of around 97.79% of sRGB and 69.55% of DCI-P3. Personally, I just use it in the adaptive profile because I think that just looks better, and that is the default option anyway. Okay, a few more things to mention. The Google Pixel 9 uses a USB 3.0 port at the bottom, and transferring files in and out of the phone is super quick. It does have display output via USB-C, and it mirrors the display if we choose to enable that. It doesn't have an audio jack like most other phones, and it also only has a single physical SIM card slot. Okay, so should you buy the Google Pixel 9? I think if you don't care about gaming on a phone at all, then yes, go for it. This phone is amazing for photography, and I'm not gonna lie here, I kinda tempted to replace one of my phones with this. There are a lot of good and actually useful features like the Pixel Screenshots, and I think the Tensor G4 does what it is designed to do very well. Great efficiency as well from the chipset, which is why I still think the Tensor G4 is misunderstood. Just one word of advice though, do not get the 128GB storage version of the Pixel 9. You will need at least 256 gigs. And that's it. That's all that we have to share with you in this video right here. I know this is a very long video, and that is because I just have a lot of things to share with you about this phone. Please do like and subscribe because that will really help us out a lot, and do let me know down in the comment section below. Do you like the Pixel 9 and will you get it? Let me know why down in the comment section, and we'll see you guys in the next video.